Things to teach your children about being humble. At some point after having children, you started thinking about all the things you had to teach them. From washing their hands to taking turns, there are a lot of things to worry about. On the other hand, the pride you feel when your child does one of those things without you having to remind them first is fantastic. Teaching about humility is definitely one of those crucial skills every child needs to learn. After all, being humble will not only serve your child well in all social interactions and group projects as they grow up, they'll feel more confident and content with a humble attitude, and more likely to find eventual success. With this in mind, let's look at the lessons so crucial to learn. Start in self-confidence. Being humble requires a reasonably good self-image. With this in mind, you need to start with a solid foundation to build humility. Spend time with building your child up to be confident in themselves and their abilities. Remember unconditional love. A child who thinks their value lies in what they can do or become will never feel confident enough to be humble. Don't undermine what you're doing by making your approval contingent on these things. You love them because they are who they are, right here and now. End of story. Don't force humility. Trying to shove a child into a mold they don't understand or that they flee to out of fear never works. To constantly scold a child for moments where they aren't humble only confuses and eventually breaks a child. Instead, praise those moments where you see them being humble, using positive reinforcement over negative. Give them a heart for others. Teaching your child compassion by modeling behavior where you show compassion or involving them in community projects, or ways in which they can serve others, goes a long way toward teaching humility. Remember, the best lessons come from actions, not from words. Teach them the right words. A child should know how to say thank you, whether responding to a compliment or simply displaying gratitude for the other person. These words should be used often throughout the day and meant every time. Discuss the need to apologize. Every child needs to know people mess up, usually without meaning to. This doesn't negate the need to apologize. Being humble enough to say I'm sorry without making excuses for their behavior is one of the most important things your child will ever learn. Being humble is one of those things which, once learned, you'll never forget. Don't be afraid to start these lessons when they're young and reinforce them while they grow into confident and happy adults.